When you start to read music, it can be quite complicated. You know, you've got these things of 5 lines and 4 spaces, and you've got these funny squiggles at the start of them, and then you've got wee tiny lines and big lines and dots, and it can get quite confusing. So often what we can do is we can stick to the original kind of, I call it the original way, using mnemonics on how to learn notes, or we can use what's called landmark notes. So today what I'm going to do is I'll quickly cover the mnemonics just to give you an overview of what that is, and then I'll go into the landmark notes. Okay, so going into the mnemonics, so everybody's got different versions of these, if you like. So if we look at the treble clef first, what I use personally is for the spaces going from the bottom to the top, I just spell the word face. Right. For the lines, I use every green bus drives fast. And when we use the mnemonics, what we're essentially doing is we're taking the first letter from each one of the words to actually tell you what the note name is on each one of them. Okay. Then if we move into the bass clef and we look at the spaces, I use all cows eat grass, again going from the bottom to the top. And then with the lines, I've got good burritos don't fall apart. Now there's loads of different ones, but they're the 4 main ones that I use. Now, what I find a wee bit, it's fine for me because I've been playing for a while, I suppose, but what I find a wee bit difficult for new students is that's a lot to remember. You know, you're already trying to learn how to sit at the piano, how to hold your hands, you know, what each one of the note values means, what they're all called, and there's just so much to remember. So remembering mnemonics on top of that can prove to be a little bit daunting. So landmark notes tends to be a bit of an easier way to do it. So what are the landmark notes? It's an excellent question, thanks. What we do is we strip it back and we take just a few notes, and then with the knowledge of that plus intervals, which I've covered in other videos, you can really start to figure out, you know, music, and what you'll start to learn the actual note names along the way. But what I find is with a lot of students that, you know, when we start learning, we're just looking at intervals. So we will say, right, we want you to start with finger 1 on G and then go from there, or 1 on C or whatever, and go from there. And then they can recognize the intervals and they can read up and down. They may not have a clue what the actual note names are, but they will eventually, and that's, you know, that's fine. So you can take your time with these things. Depending on where you look, will depend on what, you know, how many landmark notes there are. So the likes of, I teach from Piano Safari, and they use kind of 2 main landmark notes, treble G and bass C is quite common, but you know, there's normally a few more than that. Let's actually have a look at what they are. So I've got a bit of a worksheet here which shows you, if I just show you here, what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description below if you want it. You're more than welcome to grab a copy. There's another page which I'll show you in a sec. Now, if we have a look at it again, you'll notice we've got middle C in the middle, and then if we go in the treble clef, if you go up to the second line, we've got what's called treble G. If we're in the bass clef, we go down to the second line from the top, and that's bass F, and then we've got treble C up at the top in the space, and then we've got bass C down at the bottom as well. Now, that's all very good and well, but what you want to actually do is you want to be able to relate to where they are on the piano. So on the second page of the worksheet, then it actually shows you where they are on the piano. If you can't be bothered downloading it, then that's fine. What I'll do is I'll actually show you on the piano as well, okay? So the one that we'll start with will be middle C, which is here. Generally the easiest one to find. You know, if you look directly for the name of the piano, normally it's right here, and then if you come down, C is always the note that's just to the left of the 2 black keys. Doesn't matter where you are on the piano, but this specific one is middle C, okay? Now, if you're then looking for treble G, which again was the second line up from the bottom of the treble clef, this is it here, okay? And then we go to treble C, okay? Right, and if we're going the other way, we've got middle C, and then we go to bass F, and then we go to bass C. As I said, when you're actually learning how to play the piano, most of the pieces, the likes of Piano Safari, they'll start on these notes, and then you can figure out the intervals from there, and gradually you'll kind of start to learn what all the note names are anyway. So today's video is relatively short. That was it. As I said, you can download the worksheet, and the link's in the description below. If you've got any questions or comments, you know, put them in below. Let us know what your experiences are with using landmark notes. And if you like the video, that'd be great. And if you subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Thanks again, and I'll see you in another video.